Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
All right, folks. Wow, it's Thursday. I almost said Happy Tuesday. See, remember last Tuesday we thought it was Thursday? Now today I'm thinking it's Tuesday. All right, it is Thursday evening. It is June 15th, 2017, and you are listening to the Jen and Rick Show right here live on KLRNradio.com, where we come to you every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, and I am joined by my beautiful, talented, lovely co-host, Miss Jen Homestead. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I am doing all right, all things considered. It's been a busy 2 days since Tuesday, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, a lot has happened. Thankfully, we just recently got an update that Congressman is doing better than he has been. So really hope that that's true. Fingers crossed, prayers up.
Yeah, I was really worried about that because I was getting conflicting reports from different people that I knew that were in the area last night. And I'm like, look, why don't you two call each other, figure out exactly what's going on, and then get back to me? Because one was like, he's still critical, but he's okay. And the other was like, no, he's not doing really good at all. And I'm like, you know what? Stop calling me until you know what the hell's going on. Because I was up till almost 2 in the morning because I literally couldn't sleep. Because I was like, dude, if we literally have a state funeral because some idiot went on a shooting spree, a Bernie supporter, by the way. Now, I didn't plan on opening with this, but I want to point out the irony of this man who was supporting Bernie Sanders, who wants gun control, which means tacitly this idiot probably wanted gun control too, bought several guns, or stole them, or got them off the black market, or however the hell he got them, and took them to a practice field where he asked other congressmen who had just left, hey, what's going on here? Oh, we're practicing for a charity baseball game. We're with Congress. Oh, are you guys Republicans or Democrats? Oh, yeah, we're the Republicans. 5 minutes later, pop, 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 pop. But these are the same idiots that keep telling us we can't have guns. And we shouldn't have guns. Serious question. When is the last time anyone of conservative leanings shot anyone else in a mass shooting incident?
I mean, I haven't. I guess just Dylan Roof that you could possibly associate it, but he was just more of just a crazy racist. I mean, he's a nut job all the way around. But I think, this idea about political radicalization. We talk about Islamic radicalization a lot. We kind of don't talk about political radicalization in those terms so much, but that's what it is. And we talk about the divide, and we talk about the fringe and the alt-right and, the fringe left. And we talk about all of these different groups of like kind of two extreme crazies. But there is a lot of political radicalization going on in places you wouldn't expect it, from people you wouldn't expect. And the media would have you believe that that's all happening on the right and that it's, shocker, Trump's fault. But really, there's a whole lot of political radicalization on the left. And all you have to do is take a stroll through, say, feminist Twitter or, key in a few like issues, and you will see how extreme people that think that they're not extreme are.
Or you can visit the Facebook group Terminate Republicans. That seems like a really great bunch.
I mean, honestly, you can just read Keith Olbermann's TL or Sally Cohn's TL or various people like that. And, and that's the thing here, is that you've got a couple of guys, that may or may not be verified users of social media in the alt-right that spew some crap that we would all like to not be associated with. But for the most part, it is a lot of the hateful and disgusting stuff is coming from unknown users, anonymous bots, and anonymous trolls and things. On the left, though, all you had to do was stroll through Twitter yesterday after this shooting and just see hot take after hot take after hot take from a lot of supposedly reputable sources and respected journalists or commentators. And that is becoming increasingly more normal.
Yeah, no. Now I want to back up because you'd mentioned Sally Cohn, I believe.
Nice girl, but about as sharp as a sack of wet mice.
Just saying.
But I just think that it's been in a lot of ways rationalized, justified, and now even encouraged to speak this way against Republicans, against conservatives, against the right, and particularly against this president, though this is by no means the beginning of this kind of talk. And while, I do believe that in personal responsibility and, words cannot make a human being do something, I do think that it is important to recognize how harmful this kind of normalization of political radical speech can be on our society.
Now, you've actually made me think of something, and so I want to say this before I forget, because something just occurred to me that turns this whole discussion on its head. Because these same people are like, "Oh, words can't make people do things. That's not how this works. This person has to be responsible." And blah 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 blah. These are the same people that tell you that video games make people kill people.
Right. They're the same people that say that Islam is the indoctrination that makes these people behave this way. Well, that's the same thing with political indoctrination. That's what this kind of warping of the mind into making this, and I'm not saying making violence acceptable as in all these people are going to go do it, but in a lot of ways in encouraging it and saying that we should burn our cities and we should do this, do that until we force, them to submit to us. That has been happening for a while now. It's kind of reached a peak point during the campaign under Trump, but this has been building for a while. I mean, the Ferguson stuff happened under Obama. That wasn't because of Trump. But, I'm sure it was because of hateful, awful, bigot, white America. But that the speech is just speech. but it is also something that does influence, and especially when you have people that are sitting there on CNN, they are airing women and men marching on live TV who are saying that people have to die in order for them to get their point across, that blood should run in the streets. When you have commentators saying those things, when you have politicians calling for fighting in the streets, that matters. And no, that is not what made this man go shoot up the congressional baseball practice. But those kinds of things are infiltrating the minds and hearts of Americans. And I don't know why we can't see that that could be a problem. Obviously, a lot of people will be able to chew that up and spit it right back out. But unfortunately, it's becoming more of a mainstream thing and less of a fringe element.
And that's the scary thing about it, is this type of rhetoric has actually hit the mainstream. I mean, look, now, again, I'm not saying that some of what Trump, because we were calling him out the whole time, so I'm not saying that some of what Trump said and did during his campaign wasn't appalling. That was one of the reasons why you, me, and a lot of other folks were like, look, dude, we're not voting for this guy. He's nuts. Mm-hmm. We called him out. But that's why I think we're in a unique perspective and have a chance to look at this rationally and say, look, you can blame Trump for this all you want, but to really get to the meat of this at this point, you need to rewind a full 8 years and look at everything that happened under the Obama administration and all of the things that not only he turned a blind eye to, but basically incited by making stupid statements, like the cops in this instance behaved stupidly. Or if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon Martin. He didn't even know what the hell was going on yet and had to inject his opinion. He has been stirring the pot for 8 years. 8 very long, 8 very tedious years. And none of this was happening with conservatives. We were the ones we lost. We formed the Tea Party movement. We started peaceful protests. Hell, we cleaned up the trash after our peaceful protests. But we were the ones that were deemed hate groups, Bible-clinging, gun-toting bastards. I'm over all of it because I'm so sick of everyone saying, well, just remember, this isn't indicative of everybody. Well, no crap. But it doesn't change the fact that yesterday, for 3 solid hours, I watched leftists basically on social media doing the equivalence of dancing in the streets like they did after 9/11. And I am tired of it. Because let me... Go ahead. Sorry, I'm on a rant. So I'm
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, and I would like to point out that the majority of the people that I interact with on a daily basis, my friends, my coworkers, and a decent chunk of family are not conservative. And in fact, a lot of them are very liberal. And by the way, we get along just fine on a regular basis, but their social medias have been infected with this. So I don't buy that it's just some, like I said before, a fringe element, or that it's just the ones that are really diehard and out there and idealistic and, whatever else kind of anarchist. No, this has infiltrated people that I know that you would not expect that go to Starbucks and then they take their kids to soccer and they live in suburbia, but they are turning into more and more rabid leftists, and they are justified by the links they share from people that are prominent on the left that are saying these kinds of things. They believe heart and soul that Republicans are evil and that the world would be better off if this party was and the people in it were basically eradicated. They believe that everything that we stand for is because of hate, and that just by being, we are allowing for bigotry and hate to exist because they can see no point in any of our stuff. And obviously there are people that are not like this. And I know a lot of them. And our day-to-day lives, we don't have to deal with it. But I'm telling you what I'm seeing on social media from actual friends and family members that are saying things, that are sharing these things about how, well, maybe now Republicans, now that one of their own was injured and hopefully, almost died. Hopefully he doesn't. Maybe now that they'll wake up and do gun control. Maybe now they'll see this. Hey, well, it's one less Republican. I would have been pissed if it was a Democrat. I watched people actually post these things. People that I know are good people, but they have been so consumed with the political radicalization on the left, and they have eaten it up, that they are warping their minds and they are starting to post and think like this. It's not just the crazies on Twitter. These are real people, and they went and marched, and they would probably riot if something happened in their neighborhood because they feel justified now. They feel like this is the new way to be patriotic, and that to me is an issue.
No, and that is the ultimate issue, because the one part of this that I've tried to make everybody understand, because everybody tries to make this a left-right issue. This is not a left-right issue. This is a law-abiding citizen versus lawless citizen issue. Because everything that man did yesterday was illegal. It doesn't matter what his political motivations were. As soon as he started brandishing a weapon, that was a violation of state and federal law. As soon as he started opening fire in public, that was a violation of state and federal law. We're not talking about a left-right issue. We're talking about a human problem, because of the fact that we have such polarized media and so many different outlets spewing hate from all angles. And all I'm saying at this point is these people aren't thinking very clearly, because it's really become apparent that they think they want a war in the streets. We're the ones that can shoot what we're aiming at. So,
absolutely. Well, and think about it this way, too. They're getting reinforced because they're getting all these shares and all these likes or all these retweets, and their friends are going, yeah, preach, sister, and all that kind of thing. And so they are feeling validated and speaking this way. And then they turn on, the news at night, and then they see the, educated, respected, whatever, commentators that are saying that or worse. So, of course, they feel like this is completely how that they are completely justified in how they're thinking about these things and how they're speaking to others about them. And I've been deleted by a few people because it was like, if you dare to blank blank blank, then you must be an evil, awful, terrible human being on this planet, and I can't speak to you. And there were a couple people that made some posts like that, and I voluntarily said, I'll save you the trouble. See you later. And a couple of them reached out to me and were like, oh, no, not you, not you. Well, what you don't realize is that you did mean me. See, I don't sit there and post all of this stuff, and I don't judge you and post it all over my Facebook about what a piece of crap you are because you said this, this, or that. But that's what you're doing. And I'm not judging. I know that you're liberal. I know what you're posting. And I don't unfriend you because I just can't handle it, because I'm an adult. I'm an adult, and our relationship is more than just your politics. But if you are going to make that everything that you're about, and if you are going to call for Donald Trump's head on a stake, if you are going to be ugly and terrible to people that have done nothing to you but think differently from you, whether it's morally or politically, then I'm sorry, I don't want to be around you or see your crap anymore. And that's where we've gotten, unfortunately, and I hate that, because so many of these people that I'm seeing do this, like I said, I know they're good people, but it has infiltrated all the way down. It's not just the fringe anymore, and that rhetoric is more than divisive. It is absolutely harmful.
No, I mean, it's just appalling. I mean, I don't know what else to say. We are living in a terrifying time. And unfortunately, this is a time that we've known was coming for a while. We knew, any of us that have been paying attention over the last 12 years have known that we were headed towards a dark time. We saw it starting through the second half of Bush 43's term, when things like the Patriot Act we were really starting to understand what was going on there, and all of the other things that have happened since then, and just the complete radicalization of the left. I mean, look, say what you want. The Congress, the left members of Congress said and did the right things yesterday. Nancy Pelosi got up and she said what she needed to say. Bernie Sanders said what he needed to say. They prayed, they did all the right things, and I give them credit for that. So I'm not trying to take away from that. But where were these same voices when Black Lives Matter were screaming, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon? Where were their voices then? Because that's when this should have been dealt with. Look, I am a free speech guy, but as someone who has spent the majority of my life in one form or another, either doing law enforcement work, private security work, private investigations, contracting, all whatever you want to call it, in every different aspect of it, from fugitive recovery on up, there are times when, yes, free speech is free speech, but there is such a thing called reasonable suspicion. If there are groups of people running around chanting in public that they want to shoot cops, it's probably a good idea to look into their backgrounds and find out if it's more than just words. If it's not, fine. They're still allowed to say it. You didn't detain them. You didn't put a muzzle on them. But at least you could find out what the hell their thought process is to be running around major metropolitan areas screaming that they want to kill the people that are there that are charged to protect them. Those are the type of things that I'm talking about here.
Yeah, and there is such thing as responsible speech, and I know not every person is. I mean, I think they should, for their own good and for the good of their children or their mother or their sister or their friend, should try to engage in responsible speech, but especially members of the media, especially leaders of parties, people in other leadership positions, they should engage in responsible speech. And that doesn't mean that they can't be free to speak, but they know what they're doing when they say some of these, outrageous things. And we've kind of gotten, in a way, we are a society that is so incredibly sensitive that we are offended by every teensy tiny little thing. On the other hand, we're a society that is completely numb, to where we have watched for months and months as people have called for the killing or for the, violence against Trump and his supporters, or even just people that are anti-abortion or this or that. And we're kind of like, whatever. I mean, it's just Twitter. It's just social media. It's just words. She's just an idiot. He's just a blah, blah, blah. And we're like, brush it off. So in some ways, we're really numb to all of this kind of stuff. And that says something, too, about how far this has gone, that we're just kind of like, meh, whatever. They won't do anything. And then on the other hand, we're offended about absolutely everything on the planet. So it's kind of bipolar. We've kind of turned into this bipolar society.
Well, it's because we've lost our way. We literally don't allow people to formulate their own opinions anymore because we don't have any type of critical thinking. We're a bunch of people that are running from talking point to talking point to talking point, eating up as much of it as we can, and we move on to the next one. And the bad thing about things like Facebook and Twitter and all of these different blog sites where you can get your news now, it's like you're at your own frozen yogurt bar because you can pick your toppings. It's not this thing where, you go into an ice cream parlor and they have like 2 or 3 choices and that's what you get and that's the end of it. No, because now you can customize everything from the flavor of the yogurt that you get, what you put on top of it, whether it gets sprinkles. That's the same thing that you can do with news now. You can pull everything from one particular area and that's the only thing that you get. It's like sitting at a buffet and only getting... You got like 4 million food choices, and all you're doing is sitting there eating the sweet and sour chicken. Not that I'm dissing sweet and sour chicken. I'm a fat guy. I like sweet and sour chicken. But, you got to put some other stuff in the plate. You can't get all of your news and information from a single place. Because if you do, that's where we get a single slant. Because that's where we get the crazies that we have right now. And there are crazies on both sides. I freely admit that there are people on both sides of the aisle that are nuts. But I don't see any right-leaning nuts running around shooting at congressmen and shooting up cars and trucks because they have Hillary 2017 on them, unlike the Make America Great Again truck that was shot at, I believe it was actually today. That's one of the things that drives me crazy. Is that why the left is screaming so much for gun control is because they can't trust themselves with guns? Because they seem to be the only ones shooting at people.
Well, even beyond that, though, I mean, this has just gotten so... I absolutely, we've said this, personal responsibility. No one can make anyone go shoot someone else, no matter how divisive and incensed the rhetoric is. But I do think that part of the reason that so many are so frustrated and we start to go point fingers and say, well, it was another Democrat, or well, it was a Bernie bro, and we make that a thing, which I'm not particularly crazy about. But at the same time, I understand, because all we hear all the time from the left and from the media is how horrible the right is and how we're violent and we are gun toters and we are, terrible Christians. How dare us? We're trying to not let people have cakes for their weddings. All of these things. And the finger is always pointed across the aisle, even when we're not at fault, even when, nobody on the right is at fault for something, but they're just sitting there. So when you are getting called a Nazi just for your actual moral and beliefs and your political convictions, and when you are constantly badgered as being a racist and misogynist and just a hateful person because of your politics, and when you are constantly badgered and shown that they are not going to tolerate you, they want to get rid of you, they want to dismantle the Republican Party, and they want to make sure that the conservative right has no voice in politics in the future of the United States of America. And then something like this happens and they go, oh, well, there's crazies on both sides. Obviously, we always say that. Bull honky. No, you don't. You never say we've got bad people too. It is always nailing and hammering it in to every listener you can get that the right equals bad, the left equals good. Even when it's bad, it was for good purposes. And I'm sick to death of it.
Don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
I know. I was trying not to let some obscenities fly, so good job for me.
I had to edit last Thursdays. I would understand. All right. Well, we have hit the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a really quick break, try to get ourselves back under control so I don't have to do a bunch of editing, but this could be one of those breaks. And we have lots more to talk about when we come back. Stay tuned. This is JandR coming to you live right now from KLRNradio.com. The world's gone nuts. We're here to help you through it. We'll be right back.
Everything is changing.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live into the second half of the show already. My oh my! Actually, we kind of went long on before the break, so we've got about 24 minutes left. We will have an episode of America Off the Rails coming up after this one. It will not be starting at exactly 10 o'clock because trying to roll them back to back was a lot more work than I had thought it was going to be. So we're going to go back to doing things the old way till the new system kicks off, which should hopefully be in about a month or so. Still have lots of stuff going on. I have to say something. And again, this was not something that I had intended on saying. But this really, and I talked about it with Jen on the break, this really, and pardon my French for a second, but this really pissed me off. Because I'm sitting here and I'm watching someone who tried to put out this nice tweet about the fact that, you know, they still held the baseball game. The Congress, all of Congress, the Republicans and the Democrats took a knee and they prayed together for the wounded and they prayed about everything that happened yesterday. And it was a nice moment for about 2.5 until some a-hole on Twitter said, well, they didn't do anything like this when Sandy Hook happened, or they didn't do anything like this when the Pulse nightclub thing happened. F all these a-holes. These people are why we can't have nice things.
You know, I am so sick of all of the equivocations. I mean, I am sorry. There were lots of things done after Sandy Hook. There were a lot of tributes and moments of silence and memorials that were recognized and attended by government officials for both of these tragedies. That is just absurd. This so happens that this happened in conjunction with, actually because of the event that is going on tonight, to a congressman who would have been there tonight. Of course, there is going to be some sort of display of unity and support for him. That is just utterly ridiculous and purposely partisan to say otherwise.
Well, here's the thing with that again, because like you said, he would have been a participant in the game. And what is wrong with people coming together and having a moment of silence or a prayer or whatever you want to call it to make sure that a colleague that they're expressing, hope and wishes of healing, whatever about a colleague, where it has to become a moment like this? I don't understand how we have become so callous that we see something. I mean, look, and again, this is going to be my nerd card moment coming out again, but if this were a movie, then yesterday would have caused everybody to stop what they were doing, take a look around at each other, and go, what the hell is going on around us that made this happen, and how do we fix it? And it didn't happen. Everybody's still sticking to their guns. Everybody's still like, oh, the Republicans are evil. It's their fault because they don't want gun control. I turned on Sirius XM Progress, and for God, why? I don't know why I did it, but I honestly, for about 2 minutes, was like, you know what? I want to hear what's going on the other side. I want to hear what they're talking about today. And I'm not going to give the idiot's name out, but I was listening to a show, Dean of Comedy, who he's on XM Serious Progress, and the very first thing I hear him say was how all of this, while it's ultimately the responsibility of the gunman, most of this can be traced back to Trump, because look at all the violence that happened at his rallies. Look at how he said, "Well, if you punch this guy in the face, I'll pay your I'll pay your lawyer's fees." Look, you're right. He said it. Most of us on the right called him out for it. I don't see you saying a damn thing about this gunman who shot a congressman other than, well, he shouldn't have done it, but it's Trump's fault.
Well, trying to turn that back around because of some crap that happened at rallies during the campaign is utter nonsense. I mean, you're right. We did. I was mad at Trump then. And I said, yeah, he's inciting violence. When some things went down at a few of his rallies, I said, no surprise there. Absolutely none. He's encouraged it. He's okayed it. So, yeah, it was on the people actually doing the fist throwing, but Trump had been kind of cheerleading it and shrugging his shoulders about using violence against people you don't want to hear speak, that you don't want to have in your presence. So it was not surprising to any of us, and we all condemned him for it, as we did the people that actually perpetrated the acts of violence. It'd be nice if more on the left did that here, instead of saying, but Trump.
And it's not even really about the Bud Trump thing, because look, let's rewind just about 8 years and look at all the different times that Obama had a chance to come out and stop things like the Ferguson riots. How many riots were there under Obama? Because, I keep flashing back to this because, you're from Texas. You'll remember this. One riot, one ranger. Every time I think of President Obama, it's not one riot, one ranger. It's one riot per year. Because it seemed like every year around the same time there was a town burning somewhere. And he did nothing. Right. I mean, didn't even seek to, quell the irrational screams. So I just don't even know. I even saw someone saying that, Trump hadn't put out a statement, so obviously he didn't care. Like, what? Why does everything? And then they scream and cry about how he turns stuff around to be about him. I'm like, well, quit bringing him into everything he's not a part of. I mean, it goes both ways. This is just so stupid. People are they can't help it. He's on the tip of their tongue all the time, and they inject him into everything. Now, I do want to point this out, though, because the same people that were griping that he needs to stop using Twitter were mad because he didn't take to Twitter, and instead, a few hours later, made a public statement, which, I'm sorry, was everything that a sitting president should have said in an incident like this, because you know what would have happened under Obama. The cops are inept. If not for that, this person wouldn't have been shot.
Right, and instead, here we had this amazing Capitol Police officer who, why can't I find it? Of course, I just had it up. Oh, here we go. This Capitol Police officer, Special Agent David Bailey, who was injured in the attack, continued to try to subdue the shooter, and he was at the game tonight and threw out the first pitch.
Yeah, no. I mean, now I want folks to let that part sink in too, because it takes a lot to get shot and then turn around the very next day and put yourself right back out there, even if it's just to do something like throw a pitch. I mean, the dude's still hurting, and he still did, and he still did it anyway. Not only that, but while taking live fire, while being shot, he's still returning fire.
Yes.
No, nobody's talking about this because we're too busy talking about the fact that we need to ban guns. Let's not forget the fact that if it wasn't for the fact that Scalise was there wouldn't have been Capitol Police within a few seconds of being able to respond, because he's the only one with the budget for a detail. So we're talking 3 to 5 minutes response time in that area. I checked. 911 calls typically get answered in that particular area within about 3 to 5 minutes. That's from the time somebody dials 911 to the time that they're on the scene is on average 3 to 5 minutes. At that time of day, it may have been closer to 5 to 7 minutes because rush hour traffic was starting to pick up. We're talking about someone who had several rounds of ammunition and multiple types of weapons that would have had 5 to 7 minutes to unload on anybody that he chose. But for the fact that Scalise was there. We're also... Right. And I hate to say this, but we're really, really lucky that this wasn't a conservative that was doing the shooting, because there were 30 Republican congressmen there.
Well, I was going to say we're really lucky it wasn't a massacre, because, man, this guy really wasn't very good at what he was trying to do. But I also wanted to say that the other thing that there's been one other person that was shot and was credited with helping get information out and help on the scene as fast as possible, and that was Zach Barth, who is the aide to Roger Williams, Representative Roger Williams, who is actually from Texas, actually right here in Austin. So Williams was actually hurt, but he was hurt in diving for cover, which supposedly his aide was a part of, like, assisting him in doing. And I think he fell into the dugout and, like, severely hurt his ankle, but his aide was actually shot. And after getting shot, he laid there and texted and called to relay information so that they could know exactly what was happening, which is kind of crazy. He also attended the game tonight. So these people, I mean, talk about deciding not to let some crazy person ruin your life, or I'm in awe at the spirit, and I'm really glad that the congressional game was still held, and that it was a chance for people to come together.
No, exactly. And that's what this should have been. That's what this should have been. I don't want to say that's what this was supposed to be, because that would imply that there was some sort of a design behind it, and I really don't think that there was. But that's what this should have been. This should have been a light bulb moment for so many people, and it wasn't. I think that's what has me the most angry. This should have been a time for everybody to say, you know what? Politics be damned. This crazy mofo just shot at sitting congressmen. That's not a left-right issue. It's not. That's a human issue. That's a man's inhumanity to man issue. And until we can figure out how to deal with this and stop demonizing the instruments, because that's another thing that's driving me crazy, is all these people, well, if it wasn't for guns, this wouldn't have happened. No, it probably would have, because he probably would have found a way to make a bomb. He probably would have driven a car right through whatever barriers there were and tried to mow down as many people as he could. He could have bought a bow and arrow and started randomly shooting people. Who knows? The simple fact of the matter is, when someone has it in their heart that they are going to kill people, there is really no way to stop them other than changing their heart. And we cannot do that unless we start actually focusing on the problem. The problem is not the instrument. The problem is the fact that this nozzle decided that because of political ideology, these people deserve to die. That is a problem. I don't care who has that concept in their head. Right, left, center. That is a flawed concept. That person is sick in the head, and that needs to be dealt with. I don't care what letter is behind their name or who they vote for. If that is what they say, and if that is what they think, then we need to deal with that. Because until we fix the actual underlying problem, none of this is ever going to go away. And as long as we remain so divided that we cannot even take one day to put the hate aside and stand together as Americans and pray for someone who was shot and nearly mortally wounded for practicing at a damn baseball game, then I'm not even sure we deserve to be saved anymore.
I mean, it kind of feels that way. And if I saw one, I saw 50 people saying, well, you know, maybe this will wake the Republicans up. And I mean, you know, this is the group these are the people that say, don't politicize something, don't jump to conclusions, don't yada, 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 yada. And that was so much of what I saw initially. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think especially the Democrats in office in Congress, everything I saw there was absolutely solemn, and I think it was heartfelt concern and fear for what had happened to their colleagues, and I think there are a lot of people on the left that were absolutely appalled, but it's just unfortunate that there is still such a climate that allows for and even kind of coddles the kind of thinking which would have you immediately after hearing produce something like, well, it's kind of what you deserve for not controlling guns, yo. It's just disgusting.
I mean, all of it's just sickening. So I guess the game's over because I just saw a hashtag start trending. I guess the Republicans won no, hang on. I guess they didn't. Hang on. What was the final score?
I think it was terrible. I think the Democrats beat them 11-2.
It was 11-2. I thought it said 2-1. So yeah, I was looking at that wrong. Wow. So the Republicans got skunked. So this now.
So you know what? You know what I'm going to say here? I'm going to say that those Democrats, those heartless bastards, they just decided to stick the knife in and twist it, didn't they?
I know, right? I mean, come on. Our side got shot yesterday. They couldn't. I mean,
come on.
I'm going to call for run inequality here. I think they need to forfeit some of those runs and put them in the Republican column.
Ooh, these could be the Sanders rules. Play baseball Sanders style. I like it. Yes. I'm going to do some tweeting about this, I think. Might even tag my congressman. This is a great idea.
We're going to reappropriate the runs, folks, because there's no reason we should have lost.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tweeting that. Oh, that's funny. Well, it's nice to laugh after being mad.
Oh, no. Speaking of that, so we're almost out of time anyway. I have to share this, and I'm not going to give out too many details because I actually follow the guy, and I don't want to blow his thing, so I'm not going to mention his name. But so anyway, so I'm going through, and I'm finishing up some things from last night, and I'm waiting for some of the files to upload. So I start going through Twitter, and I see this guy who is giving this other person complete and total hell. And I look, and he's like grammar Naziing him, but he's spelling it wrong. And I'm like, and I don't even think about it. I'm just like, hey, you know what? Honestly, I don't mean to parse words or mince words or anything or step on anybody's toes, but he actually did spell it right. And I should have checked the guy's TL first, and I didn't. And it turned into this big old thing where I didn't realize that this is like a pretty famous comedian dude or something, and he actually messed with me for a little bit, and then I realized what was going on. I was like, you know what, it's really, really late, and apparently I have stepped into something really, really odd, so I'm just going to say goodnight. And then I was still waiting on some things to get done. I was like, you know what, I need to figure this out because this is driving me crazy. So I go back and I look at his TL, and I finally, when I figure out what's going on, I tweet him. I was like, I so effing hate you right now. I said, I tried to go to bed 30 minutes ago, and I was so weirded out by what was going on that I had to figure out what was going on, and now I understand it, and I just have to say, you're an effing genius. And he's like, just stop talking. He said, the worst part about it was you were sending me screen caps to prove that you were right, and then you finally figured out what was going on. And he's like, how fucking stupid could you be? And I was like, well, this is my real face, so how smart can I be? And he just busted up laughing. And since then, he's kind of been tagging me into a few things today still. So I think maybe I might have made a friend. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. You posted some stuff today, and I was like, oh, this is the shtick. That's kind of funny. And now you're being used to be made an example of.
Hey, I'll take it. He's got a huge following. I mean, he's tweeting about me, so I will take it.
Yeah, that's
there's no such thing as bad publicity unless you're Dean of Comedy, who isn't even nearly as funny as Amy Schumer. But, yeah.
Ooh, now that is quite the insult.
Well, I don't like the guy.
No, I don't. The only thing I really know about him is what I see, like the insane things that people quote tweet him of stuff that he said or screenshots of his that are sent around. And I'm like, Oh my gosh! And who is this guy? I don't even get it.
Well, it took me.
He's terrible.
See, I've listened to his show now like twice. It took me a minute to realize who he was. This was somebody that back when JD and Stacy had first come over, back when we were running under K98 Talk, somehow JD had gotten mixed up in one of his threads, and they had this thing going where they were going to actually set it up, and they were going to go do a stand-up night in New York City. And JD had it all about ready to go, and dude backed out.
Oh, by the way, update. The Democrats did win the baseball game. This is from Jake Tapper, but gave the trophy to the GOP to put in the office of Congressman Steve Scalise. So that, they kind of did reappropriate that. That's pretty cool. I like that.
I don't know. Should the Republicans take it? Because now that's basically a participation trophy.
Ooh, see? Dang it. Dang it. Well, whatever. I think when you survive a gunshot wound, you'll take it.
Yeah, dude needs a Purple Heart, not just a participation trophy. Oh man. See, this is why it's bad to do a radio show with a guy that actually used to get shot at for a living. I have gallows humor, so it sometimes shows.
Oh man, that's all right.
On that note, we are just about officially out of time. Why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio listening to me prattle on about crazy stuff?
Yes, I am on Twitter at jhomestead, and I'm on Facebook, JR Homestead, and always me and my fellow merry band of misfits are on misfitspolitics.com, and join us tomorrow night on Twitter at misfitspolitics for our Friday night ritual called Misfit Mischief, where we definitely like to engage in shenanigans.
I'm sorry, did someone say shenanigans?
Yes, shenanigans, and it's fun.
You're lucky I didn't have the sound clip ready. I'm gonna pistol whip the next one of you that says shenanigans. Hey, Fargo, what's the name of that restaurant?
Nice.
All right, so if anybody missed it last week, we actually do have a podcast version of the show up where Bunny actually came on with me and Dan, and of course it kind of wound up being the Bunny show because we took callers and I basically wound up running the board while everybody talked about how great Bunny was, which is awesome because it gave me a chance to not talk, which, I believe it or not, there are times I like to be quiet. And also let me test out a few things, but it was also a very, very popular episode. I want to thank everybody that's checked it out so far. We're up to over 1,000 views on that one so far, 1,000 listens. Some of them are coming over from... I've noticed the YouTube channel seems to be picking up some traction lately, so maybe that's a good thing. We might need to start seeing if we can figure out a way to incorporate more than just the Spreaker logo on those things, because that seems to be where we're getting a lot of traffic lately. But yeah, it's, so she does actually start airing with us actually it'll be 13 days from today, on the 28th. So make sure you tune in for that. That will be 7 p.m. Eastern. She's gonna kill me if I try to give her a morning show. So it would be 6 p.m. Central, and it is FOOBAR, FOOBAR, One Nation Under Foo. She took both of the names that she was playing around with and actually found a way to combine them, which I actually kind of like because it kind of...
I like it too.
It kind of goes right along with America Off the Rails because FOOBAR. Just saying, everybody knows what that means.
It's so bunny too.
It is. It really is. All right, and for those of you who want to follow along with me on Twitter and watch me get trolled by comedians at midnight when I'm too tired to realize what's going on, you can do that at AOTR_host. And apparently people are still passing that one around. I've just seen it got liked about 3 more times. So maybe it'll translate into some good numbers. Who knows? maybe you feel sorry for me when you realize this was my actual picture.
Oh, God.
On that note, folks, again...
You're so self-defeating.
Yeah, well, I took my cues from Rodney Dangerfield. I grew up watching the guy. It's just how I roll. All right, on that note, again, we are out. I will be back with you here in just about probably 5 or 6 minutes or so. It'll take us a few minutes to get things reloaded, but we have a full hour and we'll be talking about some of the things that we've talked about here. But there won't be anybody for me to bounce things off of, so this show may be a little more ranty than usual, so beware. Here in about 5 or 6 minutes or so. Take care, folks. If you don't stay tuned for the next one, we'll see you next Tuesday. Take care. God bless. Good night.